Hi guys, this is my second video on completing the square. If you haven't seen the first one or you're not too confident on completing the square, then please do watch that first video. It shows the processes and how to complete the square on quadratic expressions. This one I'm just going to show you the extension part of how to do it when we've got things like coefficients of x squared this time, and also when we have a negative x squared as well. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to factorise just normally, just standard normal linear sort of factorising with these first two terms. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the coefficient of x squared. So I'm going to end up with 4x squared plus 6x. That is that bit factorised. Obviously I do have the plus 19 on the end, so I need to make sure that I still include that. Now what I need to do is I need to complete the square as I would usually on those two terms. So from the previous videos you should be confident with this now. Open brackets, x, half the coefficient of x, so that's plus 3, close my brackets and take off the 3 squared. So that bit is this bit here. Now what I need to do is I need to take into consideration the 4 that I'm multiplying by everything in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that into square brackets just to differentiate it slightly from these blue brackets here, and obviously that all needs to be multiplied by 4. I still have got my plus 19 on the end as well. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to expand out these square brackets. So I'm going to do 4 times this bracket, which I'm just going to leave as 4 brackets x plus 3 all squared. And then what I need to do is the 4 times the negative 9, which is minus 36. Remember to add the 19 on at the end, and then just simplify. So this is going to stay the same, 4 brackets x plus 3 all squared, minus 36 plus 19 is minus 17. And that's it. The hardest part is remembering to take out your coefficient of x squared and then just completing the square of the inside these brackets and then putting these square brackets round, remembering to multiply both of those terms. So here's another example. 5x squared minus 60x minus 21. So first two terms I'm going to take out the 5. So 5 brackets x squared minus 12x, and then minus 21 on the end. Complete the square on the x squared minus 12x is x minus 6 all squared minus 36. I need to now remember that this is all inside brackets being multiplied by 5, and I also need to make sure that I don't forget about that minus 21 at the end. Now to expand out my red brackets, 5 multiplied the x minus 6 all squared is going to leave me with that, and then I need to do 5 times minus 36, which gets me minus 180, and then obviously I've got the minus 21 on the end. And finally I just need to simplify. 5 x minus 6 all squared minus 201. Okie doke. Okay, so on to example 3 then. I've got 2x squared minus 3x plus 1. This question is slightly more tricky than the other two that we've just done, because when I factorise and take out the coefficient of x squared as 2, 3 doesn't divide nicely by 2, so that's something that we need to watch out for. It is important that we know how to do this without a calculator, so I am going to keep everything in fraction form. Now, you may not believe me, but keeping things in fractions are a lot more easy than putting it into decimal form and relying on a calculator, because it could be in a non-calculator paper. So factorising my first two terms by pulling out that coefficient of 2, I'm left with x squared minus 3 over 2x. Not forgetting the plus 1 at the end. I'm now going to complete the square on the terms inside my red brackets. So I'm going to end up with x minus 3 over 2 divided by 2 is going to leave me with 3 over 4, 3/4. Put that in brackets and squared, and then I need to subtract this number squared, which is 9 over 16. Remembering this was inside my brackets, that needs to be multiplied by 2, and not forgetting my plus 1 at the end. Now to expand out my red square brackets, so 2 times x minus 3 over 4 all squared minus 2 times 9 over 16, which is going to leave me with 9 over 8 plus 1. So 2 lots of x minus 3/4 all squared minus 9 over 8 plus 8 over 8. To make this nice for me to work with, as obviously I'm not using a calculator, and I am then left with a final answer of 2 brackets x minus 3/4 all squared minus 1, not 1/4, sorry, 1/8. 9/8 minus 9/8 plus 8 over 8 leaves me with minus 1 over 8. Sorry about that. Okay, number 4. So this time I have got a negative x squared minus x squared plus 4x plus 5. So just as I've done before, I'm going to take out that coefficient. Now that coefficient there of x squared is -1, so I'm just going to take out the negative, open brackets, x squared minus 4x, and then my plus 5 on the end. Now the reason that this becomes negative here is because when I do minus 1 multiplied by minus 4, I'm going to get that positive 4 there. So complete the square on inside my red brackets. I get x minus 2 all squared minus the 2 squared, which is 4. That is all being multiplied by -1, and then I've obviously got my plus 5 at the end. Expanding out my brackets, negative times the bracket leaves me with minus in front of the brackets, and then minus 1 times that minus 4 gets me plus 4, and then I've got the plus 5 on the end. Smartening this up, I get negative brackets x minus 2 all squared plus 9. And my final example for you is minus 3x squared minus 21x minus 43. So, pulling out the factor of -3, first of all, leaves me with x squared minus, or not negative this time, positive, because -21 divided by -3 is going to give me positive 7. But then it's 7x, because I haven't yet completed the square on it. And then I've got my -43. So just to talk you through that, I have factorised by pulling out -3 as my factor. when I multiply out this bracket that I've just factorised, negative 3 times x squared does get me negative 3x squared, and then negative 3 times my positive 7x does get me negative 21x. Obviously then just put my minus 43 on the end. Completing the square then on what's inside my bracket, I get x plus 7 over 2 all squared minus 49 over 4, and that is obviously being multiplied by negative 3, and not forgetting my negative 43 at the end. Expanding out my red brackets, I get negative 3 brackets x plus 7 over 2 all squared plus, because it's negative 3 times negative 49 over 4, so plus 147 over 4 minus 43. And now I just need to simplify this part. X plus 7 over 2 all squared minus 25 over 4. And there we have it.